Alright. Daar zijn we weer met een nieuwe webinar in onze webinarseries. Voor iedereen die nu naar binnen stroomt, laat even weten in de chat dat je ons goed hoort, het beeld ook ziet. Dus als het goed is zien jullie nu waarom je techstake winst lekt en hoe je het fikst. Dat is uiteraard het onderwerp voor vandaag en daar gaan we vandaag verder op inzoomen. Laat even weten in de chat, mochten jullie het goed zien, mij goed horen. Laat het vooral weten in de chat met een duimpje of een hoi of whatever. Zodat we weten dat jullie alles goed kunnen horen en goed kunnen zien. Wacht even op de eerste reacties. Zodat we ook zeker weten dat iedereen binnen is. Kijk eens, ik zie de eerste reacties al binnenkomen. Hoop duimpjes, hoop emoticons. Kijk, Leander ook bij. Gezellig. Alright. Ik zie nog wat mensen typen. Jan er ook bij. Bert erbij. Goed zeg. Goedemiddag. Kijk, Mark is er ook bij. En terecht trouwens. Die hebben we hard nodig vandaag. Nou, dan kunnen we wel gaan starten als het mij betreft. We gaan het vandaag hebben over waarom je techstack winst lekt. Maar vooral belangrijk, hoe fixen we het nou eigenlijk? En om te starten ben ik Robin Smit, Head of Growth binnen Portland. En 3 leuke feitjes over mij. Ik vertaal de behoeften van MSP's naar winnende strategieën. Dus ik help veel MSP's met de winstgevendheid van hun bedrijf, maar ook het verkoop klaarmaken. Vanaf eigenlijk de start van welke technologie je eigenlijk hebt tot aan de perfect exit. Ik train voor mijn 4e halve marathon. Veel mensen zullen mij voor gek verklaren. Ik heb net mijn 3e afgerend bij Haarlem, in mijn hometown. En laatste punt, ik heb altijd moeite met stilzitten. Zoals op mijn vrije dagen ben ik dingen aan het plannen over hoe ik dat dan in het vervolg allemaal zou moeten doen. We gaan het vandaag hebben over onze holistische view, de 6 P's van Portland. En deze tikt er heel veel aan. Wij geloven er al lang heilig in dat we niet meer specifiek op alleen maar tools kunnen verkopen, onze MSP-partners daadwerkelijk echt helpen. Wij zien dat er daadwerkelijk een holistische view nodig is om MSP-partners richting een high-performance MSP te krijgen. En dat doen we door zowel positioning, platform, protection, process, partnership, people. En uiteindelijk draait het om deze 6 P's goed in kaart te brengen om je winstgevendheid, je EBITDA, wat een hele hippe term tegenwoordig is, om die te verhogen. Maar wat doen die high-performance MSP's nou eigenlijk? En die high-performance MSP's, dat zijn high-performance MSP's omdat zij hun inkomsten verdubbelen, strategisch gezien door cyberbeveiliging. Ze bundelen hun diensten in onmisbare pakketten. Ze verkopen het allemaal niet als een extraatje, maar als een essentiële dienst. En cruciaal gezien, 70% van hun klanten, dat zit op het best beveiligde pakket. Wat zijn nou de uitdagingen om een high-performance MSP te worden? Dit hebben wij niet bepaald. Dit is een survey van 4000 MSP's die hieraan hebben meegedaan. En cybersecurity omzet laten groeien, dat blijft uiteraard een grootste uitdaging. Zolang we nog steeds in de transitie zitten van een antivirus naar een EDR, is het verschrikkelijk moeilijk. Betere gesprekken voeren over cybersecurity met klanten. Dus denk aan vooral gesprekken voeren over waarde in plaats van over prijs. Vaak zien eindgebruikers jullie als een kostenpost, terwijl jullie super veel waarde voor deze klanten, voor jullie partners toevoegen. Cybersecurity opschalen en operationaliseren, dat is ook best een uitdaging. Op gemiddeld 11 tools voor security. Zie dat maar eens helemaal op te schalen met het aantal klanten dat jullie beheren. En dan het laatste nog is pricing en packaging. Dat blijft altijd erg lastig. Hoe doen we dat nou met gemiddeld 27 dashboards op 15 man personeel? Hoe bundelen we nou al deze tools tot winstgevende proposities? Maar ook, hoe zorgen we ervoor dat wij niet de keuzes maken voor die eindgebruikers, maar dat die eindgebruikers begrijpen welke keuzes ze moeten maken. En dat is een hele interessante. Ondertussen wat jullie klanten denken, en dat is een hele interessante natuurlijk. Wat jullie klanten denken is, we lopen eigenlijk weinig risico. Want we zijn toch al binnen een paar uur hersteld. We geven al zoveel geld uit een IT. Het zit allemaal in jullie salaris. Dus hoezo zouden we jullie nog meer moeten betalen? En cybersecurity, het is niet mijn probleem. Het is vooral jouw probleem. En dat is dan best wel lastig als MSP zijnde. om aan eindgebruikers te verkopen die er op deze manier in staan. We hebben iets speciaals aan het einde. Dus voor iedereen die er nu aan het kijken is, wacht tot het einde. We hebben iets wat jullie vandaag de dag gelijk kunnen gebruiken. Wat jullie direct geld kan opleveren bij jullie klanten. En wat ervoor zorgt dat jullie een betere documentatie hebben. Daarover meer aan het einde. Stel vooral je vragen in de chat. Daarvoor is de chat. We hebben Lucas ook onder ons. Onze Poortlander. En die zal wat vragen ook beantwoorden. Maar die zal ze ook naar mij doorsturen. Zodat ik ze ook kan zien. En zodat ik ze uiteindelijk aan het einde ook kan bespreken met Mark. En dat is top. Om een zo goed mogelijk beeld te krijgen over wat de uitdaging van een MSP nou eigenlijk is, ben ik in de schoenen van jullie gestapt vandaag. En wat ik heb gedaan is, ik heb ervoor gezorgd dat ik een proposal brengen bij Mark, de founder van Highground, maar ook een MSP zelf. En hij heeft me echt een harde tijd gegeven. Maar dit was nodig om te begrijpen en ook te laten zien, wat maken we nou voor verschil met Highground? Hoe zorgen we er nou voor dat we klanten iets kunnen laten zien, wat ze daadwerkelijk winstgevend in de markt kan zetten. En wat ze ook willen kopen, omdat ze begrijpen wat ze kopen. Jullie niet alleen als kostenpost ook zien, maar ook zien als de waarde die jullie toevoegen. En daarvoor ben ik vandaag in jullie schoenen gestapt. En dat hebben we gedaan door middel van 2 typen sketches. Dus we hebben 2 video's vandaag die jullie laten zien. Allebei 5 minuten. En ik denk dat we daar dan ook maar mee gaan starten. Dus iedereen zet je koptelefoon wat harder. En luister naar de sketch hoe ik aan Mark ga presenteren. Mijn eerste proposal als een MSP. En dat vind ik nogal kick. Komt-ie dan. There we go. Hopefully you will get everything. Hi Mark, good morning.
Hey Robin.
Hey, how are you doing? Do we like to talk about football, the weather, or we get to business today?
Yeah, I just want to know what you're going to sell me today.
Oh, shit. Mark, it's good to have you on this meeting. Today we're going to talk about your company, of course, Metallico, well-established Dutch company over here, sitting in the Rotterdam harbor. Today we're going to talk about the cybersecurity assessment of your environment, and with the objective that evaluating the current security posture and identifying the vulnerabilities, proposing a roadmap to align with the NIST 2 and the NIST cybersecurity framework, the CSV 2.0, and the best
Never
practice.
heard of it.
Sorry, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in between. No worries.
Yeah, what's NIS2?
It's just a legislation that's coming up that makes sure to have you very big time secured. It's a legislation that comes from whole Europe. So today we're going to outline that in our proposal, what kind of technical recommendations we can make, and what kind of implementation time and plan we have to strengthen your cybersecurity resilience.
I need to do that.
Yeah, everybody needs to. It's a new legislation in Europe, so everybody will be involved in there. So what we found with Metallico, the cybersecurity posture is currently below industry standards. And that's exposing the organization in significant operational and reputational risks.
I bought a new firewall from you last year.
Yeah, that's correct. And of course, it's changing very hard in the industry. So what we're missing nowadays is a vulnerability management. There's no centralized platform to use and to scan and remediate those vulnerabilities that we can see. Identity management, so we lack MFA, so multi-factor authentication. That's pretty rough. Endpoint detection and response, so in EDR, there's an absence of a next generation endpoint detection and response. DNS, web filtering in place. The network segmentation is very flat, and that's going to be our first focus of it. So
Robin, I paid you over 100,000 euros last year. Like, what the fuck you doing? It sounds like your problems, not mine.
Yeah, the money that you're already having with us are going to other segments of the company, and it's because the laptop that you're working on right now, it stays continuous working, and of course we keep it safe, but to a specific level, and that level is evaluating, of course.
My opinion has been that if I buy what you tell me to buy, then our security is good as well. Like, I don't expect that I have to pay you more for security.
And that's true, and we really appreciate the trust that you've put in us, and like what you've bought up last year. Of course, it's the market is just changing very rapidly. So I've put down all the risks that we see and what we talked about, the executive summary.
I don't understand any of that shit. It's all like double Dutch, Chinese nonsense.
It's not really
It's like you're just doing this to confuse me so that I just buy it. Is that why that's all there?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I've put down the risk level as well, so you can see what kind of risk levels they are.
You would say they were high, though. You're trying to sell me something.
Sure that your company is running smoothly and don't get hacked. That's,
but we've not been hacked, so
we can more talk about the alignment to the NIST.
We just make metal, man. I don't think that applies to us.
It does to every company. But
I'm just gonna have to trust you because I can't understand any of that. That's just can't read that.
Yeah, as well as like the DNS security, we deploy it with Cisco Umbrella. I've built an implementation timeline for you as well. So in phase one, with the dates, in phase one we start with a network assessment and the segmentation design. We help you to make sure that everybody in your company is using MFA. So
if that's that like 6-digit code thing, I don't want that.
You kind of need to have the 6 code digits because hackers are getting in too easily else. Making sure that all the
just get to the price. That sounds like it's going to be expensive.
Summarized all the quotes and the pricing over here. So
what? 4,000 a month? So, Robin, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. I thought you were doing all this. Like, I didn't think it would cost this much. I'm quite disappointed. I'm really, really disappointed that you're telling me all this now, and that I thought that you did it all, and we do everything you tell us to do, and now you're telling me our security is really bad. I think at that kind of money, I think we're going to have to go out to the market, and my confidence and trust in you has been pretty badly affected by this.
We can help you very much to be fully secured on the next level of security.
You said that last time too.
We need to have the new security standards in place. Therefore,
for that kind of money, I could employ somebody. But I've already got problems that you're still not fixed. You're asking me for another 4,500 a month here, and my printer's still not working. Why don't you just do what I've already paid you to do, and then once you fix that, let's come back and we'll talk about this.
Even kijken of dit wel werkt. Ik denk dat dit een stuk beter werkt. Kijk, super. Nou, we hebben in ieder geval audio. Dat is fijn. Ik zag dat sommige mensen die genoten er wel van. Deze sketch was het uiteraard bedoeld om inzichtelijk te geven over wat vandaag de dag nog steeds de moeite is voor vele MSP's. Iets kunnen verkopen aan mensen die ons gewoon als een serieuze kostenpost zien. En daarvoor heb ik een aantal dingen genoemd die in deze sessie samen met deze hypothetische klant fout gingen. En we begonnen met beveiliging. We beginnen met beveiliging voordat je praat over geld. Vertellen dat hun beveiliging slecht is. Ervan uitgaan dat het risicobereidheid van de klant kent. Dat is een grote misperceptie. Hun technologie en uitgaven bij andere leveranciers in kaart brengen tijdens de evaluatie. Daarvoor moet je een aparte sessie eigenlijk inplannen. Niet op de hoogte zijn van de openstaande tickets. Dat kan zomaar je hele deal onderuit schoppen. Gelijk beginnen over je propositie of technologie. Dat zien we veel MSP's vandaag de dag nog steeds doen, omdat dat onze comfortzone is. En we bieden helemaal geen opties aan. Wij weten het, wij maken de keuzes. En we geven eigenlijk helemaal geen keuzes meer aan die eindgebruiker zelf. Gewoon omdat ze het serieus niet begrijpen. En we hebben uiteraard ook genoteerd, hoe kunnen we dat anders doen? En we kunnen dat anders doen en daarvoor hebben we een tweede video. Deze duurt 5 minuten om jullie te laten zien hoe vandaag de dag high-performance MSP's winstgevende proposities verkopen aan hun eindgebruikers. En wederom mocht ik weer in de schoenen staan van een MSP-eigenaar en mocht ik het verkopen aan Mark, de eindgebruiker. Hopelijk is het nu wat aardiger voor me. We gaan het zien. Hey Mark, good morning.
Morning, Robin. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Fantastic. Sun is
Amazing.
shining.
That's great, man. I see it on your sunglasses. Hey, do you want to speak about football, the weather, or do we get into business?
Yeah, let's get to business. I've got a meeting in 10 minutes.
We will talk about your full security landscape today and see where can we improve. First, I want to talk with you about what do we actually spend with us? Because, man, you're giving us so much trust. We're working almost 50 years together. So it's important for you to know, where does my money go, right? If this year, 111,000 euros in total. It's 15% more than you did last year. That's because of the Windows 11 migrations, of course. Actually, you need to know, where does it go? To talk about software, that's your biggest chunk. Software is a very important one for you. So 36,000 euros that you pay for it. Of course, Microsoft 365, your whole company is running on it. And
yeah, we use that. Yeah, we'd be screwed without that.
So telco is 9% of your total spend, and IT support is a big chunk, it's 24%.
Your guys have been doing a lot of work on our IT, so I can understand why that would be that. That's actually quite low, really, compared to all the other things we spend on it. I mean, don't put the price up, please, but that's not a lot of money.
Talk about responsibilities. This is your cyber score and your resilience score. Your cyber score is 42. This is how much you secure yourself, and we can deep dive in there. I'm not really a fan about talking about technologies, but we patch everything, so we update your devices. We secure those endpoints, so we make sure that all the endpoints are secured. But these are the things that we're currently not doing. I won't bother you with all the things that you see in here. I think security awareness training is very important for you guys because you grew so hard. You've got 50 employees right now, so it's a very important one for you to make sure that all the employees, as well as the new employees, understand that they don't click the link, Mark. Next to that is password management. That's always an important one. Still having passwords like welcome 1 to 3. We need to make sure that
Oh, that'll be mine.
Yeah. So therefore, it will be very good to have a password management in place there. Is everything clear on like the cyber score for you?
Yeah, I mean that's the clearest I've ever seen it. You know, it makes sense. Like I don't understand all that like stuff. I know you do. I mean, I can understand this though. So this is good. Keep going.
All right. So we got the cyber resilience, and we've already filled in what we're doing and what we're not doing. So we made the decision to not have any board reviews. I would recommend to do this more often, and I would recommend to get your management team more together to talk about this subject.
Like, I mean, can you see the stuff you show me? Can you put this in a report? Because this would be a board report. Like, this give us something to talk about. So you can fix this, right? Like, you're not. I mean, you kind of got me a bit worried about understand stuff, but like, what do we do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can show you how we can help you. It's more about the cyber comparison that you see over here. So you see the dotted line, that's your actual stage right now, and you see the line over here.
So that's how it's going to get better. Like
exactly. But what most important part for you is your cyber score and your cyber resilience score. So we're plussing this in 10 points, and even cyber score is plussing in 16 points, mate.
I mean, that looks easier. Like I understand that better, but yeah, it's good because I can see how it's going to improve. But I mean, it's not cheap though, is it, Robin? It's like almost 4K. That's what 50,000 a year. That has to be budgeted, or someone else is getting their budget cut. So, like, what can we do now?
We've got an in-between package. It's not less good or something. It's very good. But you can see the differences between those two propositions. So we've got this one. This is the security fundamentals. This is the least things you've got, and this is like the big package, right? So if we book this in for like next year, where we can have the budget for it, we can already start with this.
Can you send that to me? You send a copy of that so I can share it with the team.
You know what? We can make a full client report for you. So this is actually we all we spoke about. So
yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
What you're seeing is your current cybersecurity posture, the list of technology subscriptions that you're having, not with us, but somewhere else.
Do you think I'm paying too much for the phones and the internet?
I think like the phone system and the high-speed internet, we can do something with it.
Well, any money we can save on other services and put it towards security would be good for us because it reduces the cost. And obviously, we like working with you, and we'd like to move as much to you as we can. It makes our life easier too.
This is the capabilities you're currently having. This is something we can improve. Then I will add the two different propositions we spoke about. So the security fundamentals and then the MXDR. This is our recommended security package. You see everything here, what happens and what's improving. Then the second part is what can we pay? What do you need to pay for it with all the cyber capabilities? And that's an interesting thing because you already have a table where you can see the improvements that you need to make, as well as you can compare it with the cyber capabilities of it. I can send it over to you, so you have a clear view of what we're currently doing and how we can improve your security landscape.
Mate, this is fantastic, Robin. Thank you very much. Look, I'm a few minutes late for my next meeting, so I'm going to have to run, but this has been brilliant. And yeah, send it over to me. I'll put it in front of my management team, and I'll come back to you really quick, probably before the end of this week. I want to get this sorted as quick as I can.
Daar zijn we weer. En we hebben nu daadwerkelijk gezien hoe het ook kan om ervoor te zorgen dat jij dus je proposities makkelijker aan eindgebruikers kan uitleggen, het makkelijker inzichtelijk kan hebben, het beter in de markt kan zetten en je eigenlijk alleen maar over waarde hoeft te praten in plaats van alleen maar over geld. Je hoeft dus niet meer te laten lijken alsof jullie alleen maar een kostenpost zijn, maar je kan daadwerkelijk in de feiten laten zien waar gaat uw geld naartoe en hoe kunnen ze verbeteren. En daarvoor hebben we de samenwerking met Mark. Next to it, over Mark gesproken. About Mark. Mark, can you get on stage together with me, please? Let's give him a short, brief minute. Yes. Hi, Mark.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everybody hear Mark? Can you let us know in the chat as well? If you have any questions for Mark, please let us know. We can make sure that the questions are coming to Mark and me so we can answer it.
I work in IT, so I got my sound working first time, Robin.
Oh, that's good, man. And thank you so much for the time, Mark, and in your involvement. And man, what did you give me a hard time with giving you the proposal? But can you give us a short introduction about yourself, how you started with High Ground, and what your experiences are with the end customers? Because, well, that's what we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've got an MSP in Scotland called MP Networks. We started it in 2009. So we're like 16 years in now. And yeah, I've been doing this for long enough to have had many more difficult conversations than that one. I gave it to you light, not hard.
This is something because we of course we over exaggerated it, but this is something common for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, customers are what customers think we do and what we actually do are often just worlds apart. And I think as MSPs we get so far ahead of the customer and we go in these meetings too hot, and we forget that they don't think about and work in IT every day. You know, they're running their business, doing what they do, and we've got to, you know, slow it down. Sometimes we have to go back, and we have to always be demonstrating value. So it's always about having customer understanding and showing value to the customer in order to get them to understand. You know, not just going in saying, "Hey, your security is shit. You need to spend money with me," because it gets you in trouble more often than not.
So that's what the thing is. What I did wrong in the first session. I just started with, well, your cybersecurity is way below industry standards. You can't say that to end customers. What are the typical responses that you received before you introduced high ground to your own MSP?
Just conversations like what we had today, right? Customer, I'd spend, days building proposals, trying to get them accurate, get them correct, explain things, putting in so much effort. Normally, I would be doing it at night times and in the weekends, getting shit from my wife for working so hard. And I'd be like, I need to get this proposal. We're going to increase our sales. And then you get there and it's like someone bursts a balloon. No, the customer, they don't receive it like that because they frankly don't care. They thought we were already doing these things. And so I just got so disheartened having that conversation over and over. And like any good MSP does, like to fix things, I wanted to fix the problem. So I thought there has to be a better way. And that's what caused us to build high ground.
That's amazing. And I believe it's almost 2.5 years ago when we first met and you came with this solution to us, to me and George, because you saw that we've developed a lot of MSPs with the system as high ground. But instead of pushing it directly to market, we went back to the table and we started introducing some stuff that we can help MSPs with. And that's full in this webinar aligned. So the full webinar is about how can we make sure that your tech stack isn't leaking any profitability and make sure that you know exactly what you've got. So what we've built on high ground together with Mark is we've built your IT X-ray. What we're typically doing is this is the start for loads of MSPs because the market is changing very rapidly, as well as like the software market in there. It's only 6,500 security vendors out there. So we need to make sure that our technologies are still in place and we still know exactly what we've got. So what we're doing nowadays is we fill in the technologies together with you as an MSP. We fill in all the technologies, we plot it against the NIST. We can see how good you are scoring with your cyber resilience and your cyber score against the NIST. We make sure to fill in all the technologies we see in overlap between toolings because everybody is getting to a platform player. So there's a loads of overlap between those technologies. We see blind spots. So we help you because everybody's thinking, all right, yeah, we've got a very valuable tech stack. Everything is going right. But the market is changing very rapidly, as well as, for example, the NIST legislation. Therefore, you need extra toolings to fit in your technology stack. So it's only the awareness of having blind spots within your tech stack. So therefore, after we fill this in, we can help you with our reporting recommendations to consolidate. With the end goal is to lower your tech spend, make sure your profitability is getting higher, and eventually, with the exit that an MSP is willing to do, has an understanding about, all right, this is my tech spend and this is my EBITDA. So next to that and helping the MSPs become more profitable, Mark, could you explain us how do you do this? What's the first step for an MSP to actually understand? And maybe you can show us around in the system as well. What is an actual step, the first step for an MSP to get a better understanding? All right, this is the place where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think well, two questions there really in terms of looking at the stack, looking at it from more than one viewpoint. The first one is it complete? Is it strong? We all want to have a good stack. But the second one, and I'd say it's kind of it conflicts with the first, which is why it's so difficult. And the second one is optimizing it for making money. As MSPs, we like good tools. I, as much as anybody, loves good tech I trust. But really, you got to remind yourself, and what I had to remind myself is, I'm in business to make money, right? Good tech doesn't pay the bills. Sales pays the bills. And so you've got to try and, it's kind of like left brain, right brain, right? You've got to try and split your brain in half and be like, yes, I need a good stack and it has to be complete, but I have to make money. And therefore, when we built the stack, and as you said, we worked with you for quite some time to build out that capability. We wanted to make sure that MSPs were able to find a way to do this that was natural to them, but that would also help them see visually what their stack looks like and see that all the way through into their packages and services that they deliver. So I'll just share my screen just now, and I'll show you some of that functionality. All right, you see this?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. So this is our stack, this is the security stack, and this is where you will define what tool you use within each of these different technologies. So you can see here in my stack, I'm using automated ADJ for my RMM, SentinelOne Huntress for my endpoint, web content filter, and mesh on email. And to do this, we just click on the technology and find the tool you use in the list here, and simply add it, which is good as well, because if you're like unhappy, I'm almost positive that you'll be unhappy with at least one vendor in your stack, or one vendor you would consider changing. Then you find what you're looking for, add it here, and if it's something that you use custom, you can simply add that. So if you're looking for something else, it's really easy to see here too, because they're already listed. And if that provider does multiple technologies, then it will also pop up and tell you, hey, this vendor also does, like it might be EDR, where they also do vulnerability management and patch management. It'll tell you that, which can be really useful. So the goal here, to your point, Robin, is to A, have something for everything, and B, to make sure that you have as minimal overlap as possible. So it's not always about using best in class, best in breed products. It's about maybe coming down one or two steps and saying, okay, it's good enough, but it's efficient and it's cost effective. It's less vendors to deal with. It's less bills to deal with. It's less portals to deal with. There's less integrations to manage. My engineers are efficient because they're getting expert at this one system and everything talks, and I can produce better client reports because all the data comes in one place. So many benefits to that. So those two things, that's how we do that here in the security stack.
That's great. What's the outcome for an MSP? Because if you have not this system, how are you typically doing this, and how much time will you spend on this? Because now we've built in the system, we're testing all the technologies. So for example, loads of technologies are saying they do a thing, but saying and actually doing is a separate thing we saw together with multiple technologies. But how much time and how much time do we save the MSPs with a list like this?
Well, yeah, so, vendors are very good at marketing. I'm not saying that we are the best at marketing, but vendors are very good at marketing, lots of money to spend on it. And it's very easy to get tricked into believing that a vendor does what they say they do. And I start with sort of distrust of like, prove to me that it really does it. That's why we all want trials, right? Us as MSPs, like, yeah, I hear all that, let me try it. And then they don't let us try it. We think they're hiding it because it doesn't actually do what they say it will do. So in High Ground, we actually make sure that every product that's in here, every tool that's in here, the technologies that they say they have, we've actually checked, they deliver an MSP product, not some vendor coming down market that's can't sell in the enterprise, so now they're trying to fudge it into the MSP. And secondly, that they actually do what they say they do, so that you can take a lot of confidence from seeing what you see here. The second thing about having it all in one single place, I mean, that's obviously very, very simple. I imagine that most people are doing this by spreadsheet maybe, and the problem is you don't know what you're missing. It's so easy to miss any one of these things. Even in data loss prevention, you've got 5 sub-items. Within disaster recovery and backup, we've got 3 items. Within secure configuration, we've got 4 items. There's just so much to map out, and so it's very, very freeing, I would say, to have somewhere to dump it all, and that everyone can see what the stack is. And when you look at it that way, when it's all done and you look at it in the cold light of day, you go, shit, look at all that. Like, there's a lot of tools.
Yeah, 100%. And so, but this is just fitting in the technologies. I can only understand that loads of MSPs are using this as their, because we challenge everything by quarter or halfway in the year or the end of the year. We're challenging all the technologies that we have. But do you put any commercials in there so we can so we actually know where to consolidate in, and how can we make sure to be challenging the right products there? How do you do it as an MSP?
Yeah, so
we've got the ability here to map what we're spending on a product, right? So I can create a product here. For example, Sentinel-1, I can put the SKU in, who I buy it from, what I pay for it, and how much of it I'm buying. So if I say I'm buying 2,000 seats of this, and the contract ends maybe 12 months from today, and also my cancellation terms, Hagran's going to calculate I'm spending 8,000 a month. That alone can be very valuable to do that too. So we can track your costs, and that's also what will allow Robin to do an IT X-ray, a stack X-ray for you to show you, actually, we can save you a lot of money by consolidating these tools. Or, did you know that the price you're paying for that product has just creeped up and creeped up to a point where you're like, holy cow, am I really paying that for that product? And that's how we help you to track that cost, and that's actually how Portland can be of value to you. That's something that they were very passionate about. We were working together to make sure that you could save them money and make them more efficient.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's all about, like consolidating in tech costs to make sure your profitability is getting up higher. And this is a good starting point. I can only imagine, like for somebody who's like in a CFO role or a admin role, where you need to track all the invoices and need to be aware that the pricing aren't creeping up without you signing anything. This can be a very good tooling to use and to have everything in one place, because man, loads of invoices are sending to you guys, and you need to keep track of it. This is a very good way of it. Mark, can you explain where do you find the data from yourself, and how can you get the data in your system? Because of course it's nice to fill in all the technologies, but that's all manual work. So how can we much automate it and spare some time with this system?
Yeah, so we've built integrations with the most common tools. Obviously, we're still working on building out more, and we always will be. But in our integrations, we have integrations with predominantly PSAs and RMMs. So ConnectWise Manage, Autotask, Halo PSA, and Synchro are the supported PSAs that we have today. And that will pull in all the customer spend information that you've seen in the video when we were showing how much the customer had spent. Much of that data was coming from the PSA. We also pull in asset data from the RMM. So AdaJ, ConnectWise Automate, Datto RMM, Ninja One. We're adding more to the list all the time, as well as Microsoft Lighthouse. So almost all of you will have Lighthouse, and you might be using it for other tools as well. But we also are able to pull in user security information like risky sign-in detections and MFA status and asset data as well. So the same computers that you would see in the RMM. And it's also worth saying that any assets that are in the PSA, which is very common to have the assets from any of your tools into your PSA, you can also pull the asset data from that as well. So we're able to, in the report, you probably didn't see it in the video, but we can also report on things like asset age, end warranty, expiration, date the device was installed, and end of life date on that operating system as well. So you can use it to flag issues with devices as well as managed security services too. So we're always working on building more integrations as well as other capability to import data outside of PSAs and RMMs. Because who wants to double enter anything in today's world, right?
Well, nobody wants it, but loads of people are doing it still nowadays in 2025, where agentic AI and everybody's talking about AI, but we're still doing loads of those things with manual tasks. It's costing us loads of money and loads of time. And our time is the most valuable piece that we're currently having. So therefore, automated things like this is just insanely valuable for everybody. Mark, I was in a conversation with another MSP about this, and he directly asked me as well as how can we use this system with new business? How are you using it?
Oh mate, we won a new customer yesterday using Highground.
Wow! Congratulations on that, man. Tell us more about that story.
The funny part about the story is the MSP that we won the business from. It was in Scotland. The MSP that we won the business from said they didn't need Highground because they had a better way of doing it. So I beg to differ. But basically, the way that we use Highground with customers, with prospects, is to basically do it manually. So, and what you're really signposting to the customer or to the prospect
is this is what working with us looks and feels like. That's very powerful in sales, because they're not going to be getting this experience with their current provider. They know that you'll be able to show them where their money is going. You can show them what their security posture looks like. You can have these conversations where you can sell at your best, which as an MSP is consultative selling. The value you deliver often comes from the quality of the conversations you have, telling them what they need to do, telling them you can help them with it, or you can put them in contact with somebody who can, guiding them with what they need to do and owning the IT. They expect you to own it. So with this level of visibility, it's absolutely fantastic, right? Because you can do that with them and they can see what's going on. And that does so much good for prospects and your chances of winning business. And of course, you can print that out in a report. So you add the prospect, you do the review like you've seen there, and then you can send this to them, write a nice cover note about what you want to say, show them their spend, or at least show them what you know, congratulate them on what they're doing well, tell them maybe where they can improve, and crucially for prospects, what you've not covered. Because the worst thing when you win new business, the customer comes back to you 6 months later and said, well, I thought that's what you were going to do for us. And you're like, oh, well, not this all over it again. So in high ground here, we can actually make it very clear. These things are incomplete. We didn't get to talk about that because in the sales cycle, we can't possibly look under every stone, right, and see this is what's going on with this and what's going on with that. So it's good for us to be able to say this here, right, we've not assessed this, we've not looked at this, as well as make your proposal. So here we could say we recommend you go with this package. So you're always making it clear what your recommendation is. So we can say here, this is what we recommend you do, but we recognize that you might not do what we ask you to do. So you can go, here's what we call the alternate package, which sits here. So when it comes to something in the future and it goes wrong, and you say, well, hey, yeah, we recommended it, but you went with the alternative. So it's your fault. I don't suggest you say that to them, but you know how it goes.
And I see a lot of buttons on the left there above the export button. Could you maybe explain how customizable is this report and what can you click on?
As someone who's had to build it, I can tell you it's too customizable for my liking. you can literally turn anything in on or off, which makes it like kind of like the ultimate report builder. The only thing that's limited is essentially the data points we bring in, which we're trying to increase all the time. But you know, if you want to send, for example, send this security report, this recommended one, you can turn off or on. Notice this one that there's no pricing breakdown. It's just the top level price. I can say, yeah, I want the full price breakdown. And all of a sudden it appears. I don't want to show maybe the tools because I don't want them to know what tools we use because I want to be able to change them. And the customer doesn't care about the NIST alignment, so let's take that away. And then all of a sudden that goes away. It's like that everywhere. From technology spend, we can change the dates that we're reporting the spend on. We can choose what KPIs we show them. We can control whether we show areas that are incomplete, or maybe you don't want to tell the customer they're doing well because you think that'll just like embolden them. So you want to say, hey, screw this. I'm not telling them that they're good. I'm going to only tell them that they're bad. You can do that. You can take all that stuff away. So extremely customizable. And my favorite feature, of course, I would say this because we created it, but the presentation mode. So it doesn't work when I share a tab, but in presentation mode, it goes full screen on your computer. And if you're in a boardroom or in a Teams meeting, instead of having all the distraction of high ground and like the navigation pane on the right hand side there, you can go full screen and present it. Just cut out all the noise. And it's very, very useful. And it's very impressive actually when you're dealing with a prospect or a client.
Yeah, that's great. And to be honest, so many adjustments. Every time I show the report to MSPs, they're like, "Oh man, loads of buttons. I can play with it." And they like to be flexible in there. But to be honest, it's a load of flexibility there. And Mark, I got several questions as well from the MSPs watching now. So let's just take one. I saw from Mark Bay, and he saw, and it's very nice that you see that, Mark, that we plot loads of things to the NIST framework. The question is, do we also map against the ISO, the NIST2, and the CBW or any other legislations?
Yeah, so The short answer is no. We only map to the NIST framework. There's a reason for that, though. As it happens, we do have a complete framework crosswalk between the different frameworks. It's not that we don't have it. It's just that it's all about selling to the customer. Customers rarely want to sit down and talk about compliance or look at framework controls and so on. So we've stuck with this framework because we can make it ultra visual. This chart here, specifically the NIST cybersecurity framework chart, we're able to show maturity on each of the axes, so how mature they are in protection and detection, response and recovery. This does so much good in terms of customer understanding and sales, which is what we're focusing on, that in order to do this with another framework, we would have to change the visualization, potentially most likely have to change that visualization to something else that might not be as impactful. So we've decided to stick with NIST 2.0 for now until we can find a way to also have the same visualization across other framework types.
Yeah, that's great. We're going to deep dive in the roadmap in just a second, so just keep the new things to ourselves for a couple of minutes. But next to that, we've got the question from Tommy, and this is a very good one. It's about tiered pricing. How can we put in technologies as well as with the tiered discounts that you receive if you have, well, as well as like multiple products from the same vendor? So if you're taking more of the same vendor, you're getting a specific discounts to specific SKUs. How are you handling that into the system?
So, Tommy, I think you're maybe referring to here when we're adding the costs in for the products with the tools. You simply add multiple SKUs. So if you're buying two different SKUs of the same product, like Sentinel-1 Complete and Sentinel-1
Control,
yeah, I was going to say basic. You would add different SKUs, different quantities and different costs. So you wouldn't, because this is the thing, ultimately, it's actually, we think about it as tiering and we think about it in that way, but mostly it's just different SKUs that we're buying. And so we would do that. If you do have an arrangement with a vendor where they're breaking the price based on hitting tiers, then today you would just have to update it once you hit that tier and your price came down.
Yeah, that's great. Do you see yourself about tiered pricing? You're using it yourself, I believe, into different technologies, I think.
Sometimes I think tiered pricing is just a dream. Like, we buy into products and we make these minimum commitments to vendors that we think we're going to get there, and somehow we never seem to get there, more or less often than we do. So, of course, it's a possibility, but it's not the primary thing. And Robin, as you'll know, this edition is relatively new, so there probably is some maturity we need to do here in terms of us working with MSP partners to say, like, what do you want to see? What stuff would make a difference to you? If we build in a tiering model in the pricing, then you can put that in and notify you that you're getting close to it or something like that. But today it's as simple as adding the SKUs.
Yeah, it's a good point. Mark, before we get out of time, this is not the end because we're going to talk about the roadmap now. But before I want to talk about the roadmap, there's a poll put out live there for everybody who is interested in a stack audit. Please feel free to get it mentioned in the poll so we can call you and we can send it over. There's for everybody who stayed to the end, there's a surprise. We've got a BCDR plan and 3 incident response plan that you can directly use, white label, and make sure to use it in your own MSP. This is valuable for everybody because the MSPs that I speak about, they don't have those documents directly in place, all of them. Some of them, of course, have, but still, if you're signing up right now on the poll, it's in the right bottom corner. You can say, yes, sign me up. It's just free of charge. We will do a stack audit with you, and we will tell you more about the full system of high ground. We will make sure that everybody who signs up now receives the documents directly afterwards, as well as the replay from this webinar. Mark, we've got 10 minutes left. The people can register right now. Can you talk to us more about the roadmap that we're going to with high ground? Because, man, we're calling more time than I speak with my wife. Can you tell us more about what we're building nowadays?
That's probably a good thing, right? Yeah, so the focus at the moment for High Ground, in our nearest part of the roadmap, I'll not sell you a dream of what we're going to do in 12 or 18 months' time. I think road mapping is better to talk about what's coming next. So before the end of this year, we're extending High Ground to also know not just about security, but also your managed IT services, so that when you present, you'll have more ability to present. This is all the things we do for you in IT as well, because most of you will probably be also having that same problem where the customer thinks you do all sorts of things in IT that you don't do, as well as being able to have one-time costs and additional items that fall outside of your packages that are maybe what 3 or 4 users have got this one microservice like password manager or PAM or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to move into building our planning module. So you'll be able to work with your customers to show them a budget forecast, a risk register, take their goals that they're trying to achieve and align their risks and their budget that you build with them in High Ground to their own goals and their own outcomes, and work with them strategically over time to drive and work in partnership with them constantly, instead of it just being a one-time, this is your security posture, or bringing High Ground out at QBRs. That'll be a tool that you work with constantly.
Yeah, that's great. I saw some change in the UI UX as well, Mark, because the onboarding, the amount of MSPs that are willing to onboard is insane. We could almost say we are oversubscribed, so that's great, of course. But we need to fix the efficiency of the onboarding, not because it's not great, it's amazing, but we saw some efficiency changes there. Could you maybe already show us a sneak peek about the system and show us a bit about the new UI UX?
Yeah. Let me get it out and I'll show you. As long as you promise not to show anybody else, Robin, and all the other people here on this call.
Oh man, no, I would understand if it's a secret. That's no worries. Then we keep secrets for those MSPs to make it more interesting, of course. So we can showcase it later. That's no worries. There was one other question, Mark, from another Mark. This goes about the data automation options, so such as API and data imports, for example, with PEX 8. We received this question more times. Is it possible to automatically sync or purchase data with the High Ground app in real time instead of entering it manually?
Not today. That, as you say, is something that we've been asked for now several times, and it is something that we want to do. But we need to make a decision about where we take that information from, because it's unlikely that PAX 8, for example, is the correct place to take it from. It's much more likely the better place to take it from is your finance tool. So think about everything that happens in your business sooner or later has to run through your accounts, and you get the bill, and the bill is the truth. No matter what they tell you you're getting, what they say you're being provisioned, I'm sure I won't be talking out of turn here when I say sometimes the vendor don't bill you what you think they should compared to their platforms. And the single source of truth is the finance system. And those are the systems that we're focused on integrating with.
Yeah, that's great. And to be honest, everything goes through a finance package. That's what we saw in a practical way as well with other MSPs. Mark, very good question. Thanks for it. To be honest, Mark, if you are interested, let's catch up and see what we can do for you as well, because it's a very interesting one. Mark, thank you so much for getting on this call, mate. And to be honest, we had so much fun recording these sessions. Thank you so much for giving me the hard time and getting me better understanding about what an MSP life is and how to sell profitable. Thanks everybody for joining. We filled in the polls. We saw some very, very positive reactions. So that's what makes me really happy, because then we're on the right track. Thank you so much all for joining. We will send over the recording to you guys, as well as everybody who signed up. We will send over the documents of the incident response plan and the BCDR plan, fully in Dutch, translated by Robin Smith and a jurist. Thank you so much all for joining, and have a good day. Thanks, Mark.
Guys. Thanks for having me.